Och vi ska gå vidare just till Lettland. In Latvia, the Defence Ministry has emphasized the need for comprehensive national defence awareness. How this is being accomplished and why schools play a crucial role will be our next focus. I'm honored to welcome Dr. Andris Sprūds, Minister of Defence of the Republic of Latvia. Please.
Your Majesty, Royal Highnesses, Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, as I see so many familiar faces already here, so it's always a pleasure to come back to Sweden, and it's a great privilege to participate, as I was told, the most important Swedish political venue. Political and intellectual one, of course. So it's a great honor. We live in challenging times, we live in difficult times. We live in times when we have to raise quite fundamental questions. What happened in 2022? Of course, it is a fundamental shift, paradigmatic shift. It is a game changer. It's Zeitenwende. It's changed our mindsets in many ways. Russia is aggressor. Russia is aggressor to its neighboring countries. But of course, we should also keep in mind that Russia challenges the rules-based international order. And this is for nations, democratic rules obeying countries, of course, it is a crucial test how we respond to this. At the same time, of course, I must say that, look, wake-up call already was made in 2014. It's not just 2 years. It's a whole decade. We've been in a shift of geopolitics. We've been in a challenging environment where Russia already proved it's being an aggressive country. And of course, lessons learned from Ukraine's resistance is that unity of the nation, solidarity, resilience, societal involvement are crucial for a nation to resist, to sustain, to be resilient, and to win. And of course, also Latvia has drawn its lessons, and already, as I said, after 2014, we started to discuss and we started to introduce what for Sweden has been experienced already for years, for decades, total defense. We call it in Latvia comprehensive national defense. And there are two pillars of comprehensive national defense. One is, of course, the classical one. It's deterrence and defense. And another one is societal resilience, preparedness, and readiness. Shortly on defense and deterrence, Latvia has made quite a crucial decisions in terms of political, societal, and also financial investment. Not going into the detail, but in 2014 we made decision 2% spending for military means. It is a must. In 2022 we made decision 3% is a must. So by 2027 we are achieving 3%, but basically already almost next year it will be 3% from the GDP for military expenditure. So there is a political and societal consensus. Defense and also investment in defense is absolutely crucial to defend the country, to defend the nation, to be responsible ally, also in a, of course, alliance of NATO. Another one dimension absolutely is important. It is so important as a actually Swedish concept, friends in need. When the friends are in need, we support each other. The NATO has been for us a rock. We built also our security. We've been in NATO for 20 years. So of course we will be welcoming Sweden also joining and becoming the 32nd member of NATO. And of course also the EFP group, Enhanced Forward Presence, battle group in Latvia are instrumental for deterrence, for proactive deterrence, and also of course strengthening our defense. But coming back to societal resilience, readiness, and preparedness, society absolutely is a stakeholder. Society is a owner of defense processes. Society, of course, must be engaged on individual level, on community level, on state level. As has been already discussed and portrayed here, the coordination among different levels of society, starting from individual to state institutions, absolutely are crucial. So interaction and responsibility on those levels are very instrumental to achieve the goal, will, skill, and knowledge to defend the country. So will, skill, and knowledge. And of course, it is an ongoing process, how to educate, how to interact, how to coordinate. So a couple of things, or number of things, have been implemented in Latvia. Civil defense has been mentioned here as a very important one. And here, of course, absolutely, I can also express my praise to Sweden. I think Sweden has done a lot of things, and also a report done last year. I think we can learn a lot. So it once more just underlines how important it is to exchange best practices among the regional like-minded nations as well. So here I see a great potential for us to cooperate and also to exchange those practices on how to exchange information within society, how to coordinate, what are the most efficient mechanisms. Also exercise. I still believe exercising the civil defense is an important element to make yourself ready for different situations of crisis and scenarios. The second level is voluntary activities. We've seen quite an active adding a flow of additional people of National Guards. So National Guards has become very popular in Latvia, so it's also part of the armed forces, but still it is a societal expression of will to participate in defense of the country. Also the cadet force, the young generation, starting from 10 to 21, are very actively involved, also showing the signs of patriotism and actually showing the willingness to obtain some of the basic skills, how to think about defense of the country. Last but not least, what has been done also, we reintroduced conscription in 2022. So it's a gradual process. Last year, 300 conscripts. This year, 600. In 3-4 years' time, 4,000. So this is a gradual. It's always dialogue and mutually learning process with society. But of course, society must be on board. It is quite a fundamental also and shift in our defense thinking. And National Defense Course, already as I mentioned, after 2014, comprehensive defense, that how to integrate, how to involve, how to engage society, how to engage young generation as well. So after 2014, we decided that we should move also for National Defense Course in a schooling system. And in 2024, it will be fully obligatory, mandatory in schooling system. So few words on National Defense Course. What are the goals of the National Defense Course in schooling system? The understanding of the situation, the taking responsibility also among young people, the taking leadership role and willingness to express a leadership role in difficult times, and also solidarity, teamwork. At the very end, it is a societal teamwork when we discuss how we can defend our nation and how we, of course, can create a stability within nation, on the borders and in region. What are the main parts of the course? The main parts of the course is civic education, resilience education, and also some military thematic block. I mean, once we discuss civic education, it's about democracy, it's about the rules of the country, it's about also how you can participate through the NGO, through the civic activities, in societal activities. Once more, societal engagement is crucial. Resilience, exactly how to take the leadership role, how to act and react in the situations of crisis, what are the leadership actually when you can educate your parents as well, not only about yourself, but how can you involve people around, because in the situations of crisis, those islands, the more islands, the better, of leadership which will be able to take that important role. And last but not least, it's also on a military education, but it's not about the weapons so much, it's also on topography, it's about orientation, it's about skill to able to act in a difficult situation. So there is a technologies, cybersecurity, so there's a wide range of spectrum which actually is being taught or is intended to be already taught on a mandatory timeline starting from this schooling year in 2024. But already half of the schools, the course was introduced in 2018, and half of the schools and half of the school pupils already have taken the course by now on voluntary basis. So that's why it also expresses that willingness to engage, willingness to participate, willingness to learn, once more those skills and knowledge to obtain. Building comprehensive defense is a ongoing process. I think this is taken for granted. And certainly this is no time for complacency. I think this is time for urgency. I hear also urgency here among your voices, and absolutely subscribe fully. It's time of urgency. Those steps are important. The societal involvement engagement is extremely important. And once more, I would underline also regional cooperation is extremely important. Also on civil society, on exchanging best practices, and of course also on defense and deterrence. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd just like to mention that there will be possibility to ask questions even in this segment. In Latvia, in implementing total defense as a concept in schools, what would you say has been the greatest benefit this far?
Greatest benefit is that, first of all, you reach to different segments of society, because, of course, all spectrums of society should be educated. The dialogue must be engaged, and I think this is absolutely one of the greatest benefits, that the full spectrum. And second one, if already we discuss the younger generation, I think the younger generation is active, dynamic, open to new knowledge, to new skills, and I think if you have additional, in a sense, positive, constructive motivation for this, how to produce, how to learn new skills, new knowledge, I think absolutely also the younger generation is the benefit of this. We always say, look, reintroducing conscription, the introducing the national defense in a schooling system, it's not about one-way street. It's about two-way streets. Yes, society gains because there are more responsibility, more skill and knowledge within society, but also it's an individual benefit and gain for the young people, also for their future careers and taking responsibility within society.
This year it's turning to be a mandatory school subject instead of voluntary. Is that a direct consequence of the war in Ukraine?
No, this is actually, it was set by the law. A law was adopted back in 2018, and 2024 was set actually as a goal already then. And 2022 certainly motivated additional youngsters, young people, and also schools to join the program on a voluntary basis. There was absolutely the sort of additional interest in joining, but 2024 was exactly set the timeline for introducing as mandatory in the schooling system.
If Sweden were to follow your example and introduce this as a school concept, what would be your best piece of advice?
My piece of advice was to follow the already decision, pretty much a preliminary decision to introduce in 2024. Or at least I heard that there is already discussion on this. So yes, Latvia has been the first one within the European Union, and we are proud of it. Yes, we face a lot of tasks, a lot of challenges as well in the process, but at the same time, it is an ongoing process, how we educate each other, how we learn from those challenges, how we improve it. Because at the very end, it is important to involve the young people as much as possible.
But is there a point with starting on a voluntary basis?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I think some gradual process and gradual adaptation was absolutely the right choice starting from the very beginning. Because, of course, it was a new thing, especially in 2018. It was not such an urgency, even though, once more, I can underline, in Latvia, the feeling of urgency started already after 2014, and it was exactly the consequence that we introduced, that we started to think about it, that it should be part of the schooling system. But at the beginning, it was a gradual process, also to adapt, to adjust, to make the best ways how to integrate into the curricula.
As you said, this is just one of the pillars on which you work with to strengthen civil defense and crisis awareness. And you were also mentioning challenges. What kind of challenges do you have to be prepared to face when working with these issues?
Well, I think the challenges are not new to any society, and I hear it also among distinguished Swedish speakers, that of course starting from infrastructure, starting from institutions and coordination institutions, but last but not least, and even more importantly, it's also about the mindset. So the mindset is important, that these steps new steps must be done for sake also of security and defense. Once more, I think in Latvia, having the feeling of urgency, having understanding also that there is an aggressor country on the border, these steps become and comes very natural.
One of your goals is to bridge the gap and promote trust between government and society. Do you think you have achieved that now?
It's ongoing process. It's everyday task. So these events, I think, just prove it that you participate and you engage. It's democracy. It's an everyday referendum in many ways. It's also putting on a board everyone sort of and thinking similarly. It's ongoing. And I think this is a charm and a challenge, but I would say even more a charm of the democracy and the situations that exactly there is a need to engage all the time different segments of society. And this is, of course, absolutely the responsibility of the political leadership.
Thank you so much. I don't see anyone in the row for asking questions, so maybe they'll catch you afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you. Thank you.